As the Philippines is listed by the World Bank as one of the nations most affected by climate change, the country previously established a new agency and passed new laws to deal with problems resulting from climate change. However, in the face of Typhoon Haiyan, all preparations were for naught. Thus, scholars suggested that fortifying each community and raising its emergency response awareness might be possibly a better solution.
Typhoon Haiyan decimated much of the Philippines. The largest local NGO there, the Philippine National Red Cross, has fully mobilized to cope with the aftermath.
All the local governments should be able to prepare themselves long before the disaster, but they don't have the resources to announce it to the people, to have the resources that they will utilize to save people's lives. So that was important.
The disaster occurred while the UN Climate Change Conference took place in Poland. A delegate from the Philippines gave a tearful speech on behalf of his people.
I speak for the countless people who will no longer be able to speak for themselves after perishing from the storm. I speak also for those who have been orphaned by the storm. I speak for those who have the people now raising its time to save survivors and alleviate the suffering of the people affected. We can take drastic action now to ensure that we prevent a future where super typhoons become a way of life.
Mr. Sano's speech once again reminded us of the threat of climate change.
It's terrible for what has happened, but it's also a big reminder to all of us of the need of urgency.
Listed by the World Bank as one of the nations most affected by climate change, the Philippines began making preparations by forming the Climate Change Commission. However, the newly established agency was unable to prevent the September 2009 flood in the capital, Manila, which saw more rainfall than Hurricane Katrina. The newly ratified Climate Change Act of the same year stated that all areas within 50 meters of shorelines should not be inhabited. However, Haiyan brought powerful surges that reached 1 kilometer inland, destroying all poorly constructed infrastructures along the way, leaving mangled debris scattered everywhere that hampered the rescue effort.
Initially, one of the biggest challenges was getting access, but now that those systems are in place, it's just identifying young people where they are while they're in this precarious situation.
The large amount of funding needed to support the rescue and recovery effort is also a big burden to the country. In 2012, President Aquino III signed the People's Survival Fund Act, which plans to raise $24.5 million for disaster relief. However, that plan cannot help Haiyan victims, and scholars still believe getting communities prepared for disasters is a more efficient alternative.
Nowadays, many people are advocating disaster-ready communities. People need to learn to help one another instead of waiting for the central or local government to tell them what to do.
Piling up sandbags and fortifying their roofs, things that Filipinos are not accustomed to, should now be practiced. For the reality is, extreme natural disasters like Haiyan will possibly become more frequent.
We should withdraw from these areas that are easily damaged. Whether it's in the Philippines or in Taiwan, coastal areas are vulnerable to the attack of powerful storms and waves. We must look at these areas differently and adapt accordingly.
Perhaps it is us humans who gave birth to these extreme weather conditions. But if we simply pass laws and chant slogans without actually modifying the way we live, we will all surely pay for our ignorance.